there, viewers. Welcome back. I'm Eric O. This is the South Main Auto Channel. Got a new repair going on today. We've got a 07 Toyota Tacoma, and this was the one that we had in just a little bit ago. The guy said that the parking brake was sticking, and we checked it out, and it looks like both rear parking brake cables are broke right where they go into the backing plate. So we had ordered some new cables from Toyota. They showed up today, so we're going to go through and see what it takes to change those and see if that fixes his problem. And I'll bring you along with me, and we'll see what we run into along the way. I'm just looking here at the repair information on this, and well, I'm thankful right now that it's not an automatic. It appears the ones with the automatic, well, you really have to tear into them pretty heavily as far as the whole center console and stuff. This one here really doesn't say as far as the manual transmission is concerned. It doesn't give you any real directions other than, you know, basically unhooking it. It shows you how to use the parking brake cable equalizer and things of that nature. So I'm not going to read the whole 12-page article on removing the parking brake cables. I say we go take a look, and if we get in a bind, then we'll come back and seek help. So if you're not familiar with the Toyota pickups, I mean, they've had this style parking brake lever since like the 80s, I think. Ever since I remember Toyotas. So the cable, obviously, you know, it must have a front cable that hooks that, it loops around, and I look under the truck and you can see just about midship in the truck, the cables come up through the floor, and there's a rubber plug underneath, and I thought, oh, this is great, we'll take that plug out, and you know, the cables will be right there, but it looks like they run up through, they must run through the center console, but I didn't see anything in the directions for the manual training that you have to pull the whole center console. So there's a cup holder right here. I'm gonna see if we can just pop this out and maybe have a look and find the cables there and see how far we have to dig. It's always kind of a pisser working on vehicles once you already have them on the lift and you got to do something on the inside. So I always said if I ever bought or build a new shop and, you know, was putting in lifts, I think I would go in-ground lifts, you know, so there's no posts above the ground. Just often you have to get in the vehicle, and you know, these two-post lifts that are symmetrical are sometimes difficult to get into. And I guess if I didn't have the below-ground option, I may entertain the idea of like an asymmetrical lift where you can at least open the doors still. So it's kind of a stinker. So any change for an old man? That's always a beauty. You never know what you're gonna find in a customer's car sometimes. Lipstick, man, I'll try a little bit of that. So, yeah, look at that. So, let me dump the garbage out of it. Yeah, it looks like there's just four little tabs and a little bit of sticky stuff holding that baby in. And it looks like that's what we're looking for. How good is that? So that's really great, really, because it looks like we got our little equalizer here, and then the brake cables are held in with just little C-clips, so we should be able to pop them off and unhook them and hopefully just feed them through from underneath. Like I say, you can see where they clearly see underneath where they come up through, so might have to have Vanessa sitting here and pull them up through or something like that. But I think that's going to be a whole lot easier than, you know, perhaps tearing this column apart or anything like that. It looks like they only go back in that way maybe 6 or 8 inches, so we should be in good shape. I think I've mentioned in other videos that I think the screwdriver is the most abused tool in the whole toolbox. I don't know about you guys, but I use mine for everything. Pry bars, chisels, hammers, whatever. One. So that's what the cables are held on with. I think I don't know what they call them. A little clip. We'll call it a little clip. That's what we'll call it. And I think the cable, yep, the cable should push right out of its bracket there. You might be able to spin that equalizer right around. Wiggle that right up out of there. There's one. We can wiggle that other one up out and get the cable, or get the clip off that. I think we'll be in good shape. Yeah, I started reading the directions there on the automatic, and I didn't realize it was for an automatic. And it's like disconnect battery, disable airbags. I'm like, started getting sad. It's like I don't want to do a parking brake cable job and have it take all day, but it is what it is. But I want to get back on that RAV4 and get that head done. Man, that's just been dragging on forever. There she is, the baby's born. There's the other one. So you can see right here, this is where they come from underneath. Like I say, I had this little rubber plug here. I took this out the other day. But I thought there'd be some kind of connection right there, but it just allows this to kind of see up in there. So I think it'll still be helpful. There. Sweet. Look at the new cables. I don't know if they're both the same part number or not. Yeah, no, this one's got a little heat shield on it, so. All right, I guess we'll just start working backwards, and looks like there's a lot of brackets and stuff we gotta get peeled off there. And just in case you didn't watch the first video when we diagnosed this is why we're changing it. Right here, the the cables are actually snapped right off the backing plates, so I assume they're seizing up, and that's what's giving this guy the hard time. Same thing on this side too. Just bust it right off. I'll start right here on the driver's side, I guess. Looks like we got a bracket right here. There's one. I think I seen on the cables that the brackets came with it, so. And this is the one, or did I just say driver's side? That was the passenger side. This is the driver's side. Thinking one thing, saying another. There's another one on the passenger side. Yeah, looks like there might be one up there on the other part of the frame, possibly. Yeah, I was totally in love with Toyota too. But they put a bolt, I don't know if you can see it right here where my finger is. There's another bracket, and the bolt goes down through. So I'm gonna have to use a wrench, heat wrenches. I wish they'd come out with like an air-powered box end wrench. So this is the driver's side, and they did the same thing. Man. So the driver's side looks like it's got one on top of the frame too, right here. Oh, it's lovely. Well, this would be an easy job if we didn't have to track those down. Maybe we can just cut it and then zip tie the new line to it. I don't think so. I think before I bust out the old manual tools, it's time for lunch, so I'm going to take a little lunch break. Where's that? There. Well, I survived lunch. Whew, I always feel like I need a nap when I'm done eating. Well, I'm going to take and work on getting these off, so I'm going to take this this one here off the passenger side, and there's another one on the driver's side, so I'll do the same thing over there. Got some good old-fashioned wrenches. I'll work at it with that for a little bit. Well, there's one out of there. Still got to unhook it off the brake, but yeah, it's not too bad. That bolt comes out pretty quick on top of the frame. That would just be a little whiny pants. Wow! Yeah, I don't know what this undercoating is on this thing, but it's kind of still wet. Maybe it's the style undercoating, I don't know, but it looks like they did an awesome job on it. I mean, for being a New York truck, I know I mentioned in the other video there that this thing is in really great shape. I mean, it might look kind of crappy on the video, but really, all in all, this thing's in awesome shape. 100 and some odd thousand, 160, 150,000 miles on it or something. Well, this one here on the driver's side, this is one of the front brackets. It's pretty snug there on the gas tank, but they made this one so it actually pops off the cable. Just goes right on wherever those two little metal brackets are. Actually, it slips right on there. So thankfully it's like that. I mean, these other ones, you know, they can come off. I mean, you have to pry them apart, but you know, you can get those ones off if you have to. But you have to take this one off to get it off the up over the tank. The frame's pretty tight, so get them unhooked off these wheels and get the new ones fished up through there. So here's the new cable assemblies. So there's the part number on one. And whoop, hang on. There's the part number on the other one. So I don't even know if they make these aftermarket, but I'm not gonna I wouldn't even bother, you know. So get these opened up. I think what I might do before we cut them loose off these backing places, we'll fish these up through there. And it doesn't look like there's much difference from the driver's side to passenger side, except the driver's side or passenger side has like a heat coating on it. So this here is the driver's side one. And like I said, the passenger side, it's got a little protective sleeve over it. Right there. Runs pretty close to the exhaust, so let's just fish these up in there and get that snapped in, because we had to yank on these pretty hard to get them out and, you know, bend them and tweak them, but I definitely don't want to do that putting them in. Grab the other one, get the other one fished up through. Alright, so I lied to you. This is the one that goes up. This was on the cable. This is for the driver's side. So this one right here is the one that goes on top of the frame, the bolt that came down through, and it is not included on the new cable. So you have to transfer this one over to the new cable. And this is the one that goes up on the cross member by the transmission. The one that we took off first, I think it was. So realistically, like where this is, you really couldn't see it. You could probably just reach up and pop the cable off. I mean, it's only one bolt, so it's not like it's a big deal that we did take it off. But I'm surprised, you know, the new cable comes with all the other hardware on it, but it doesn't come with this one. So, like I said, this is the one that we're going to stick back here on top of the frame that goes down through. So, anyhow, just wanted to admit my mistake. there's one bolt I could leave out, it'd be that one. I've probably been 20 minutes screwing around with this bolt. You can't get your hands around both sides of the frame to spin it because the gas tank's in the way. And to get on this side, you can get like one of your little meat nuggets on there to try to turn it. And then to shove your arm up above the tank, it just doesn't work. And not to mention that the bolt is this long right here. So it's the exact distance between the frame and the body. So if you try to stick the bolt in the upright position, slide it in, insert it in a hole and tighten it, it doesn't work because the body's too close to the frame. I really could have left that one out and almost felt good about it. But so what I did is the bracket, let's pretend this is the bracket. I stuck it in the bracket. You kind of got to tip it in, stick it in the hole where it belongs, and then attempt to turn it. In which case, let's pretend my finger here is the body of the truck. I stuck the bolt in the bracket, I stuck my wrench on the bolt, wedged the whole thing in there sideways, and then had to reach on top of it with my other hand with a pick to hold the bolt, to keep the bolt from turning while I turned the ratcheting wrench. Not impressed with that design. What they should have done is had the nut welded to the bracket and stuck the bolt up through from the frame, because you could see the inside of the frame. That would have been a lot easier. I think we should go with the original plan, cut it and just zip tie it to it. But if I did any of that, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, so screw around with it and do it the right way. So this is the driver's side cross member here, and well, this is where that other bracket goes that I thought was one on top of the tank, but I was wrong. I was way wrong, viewers. So we can hook that on. Well, let me get both hands here. Let's see. It's kind of in a little bit of a spot here right above this cross member. Did I say it's a transmission cross member? It's not. It's just a cross member here for the carrier bearing. Man. There, got it up on that cable. So, there, we'll tighten that down and we'll be good to go. So it appears to me over here on the driver's side, so here's the driver's side cable, there's the new one, that we've got to take a couple of brackets. So these are the brackets that we have to remove from the old cable. I'm going to take that one off because we need that one. And then we've got the other metal one here that goes on top of the frame. So we got to transfer that over. Well, good thing we didn't go in there like an animal and just start chopping. So we'll stick this one on the new cable. Get that hooked up, and then we'll do the one on top of the frame there. That one was actually pretty easy to get to on this side, not too bad. Looks like we got to take the back brakes apart. There's got this aluminum bracket here, which is what broke on the other cables, and they're bolted from the inside, from the backing plate in. So it looks like we got to pull the shoes off this thing to do that. And I think before we do, I'm gonna go wash my patties, and I'm just gonna have a peek on the inside to make sure those cables come up through and everything looks happy there, because I hate to get this whole job done and find out we gotta yank them back out. So better safe than sorry. We're at a point where we can turn back pretty easy if we gotta pull those out because they did something funky up in that column, or whatever the case may be there. So I say we play it safe, have a look, wash up, we'll pull them shoes off, run that cable through, and ship this baby. You wanna see something kind of cool? I had a customer bring me in this newspaper from June 2001. He's like, hey, you remember that old Jeep you had? Well, Vanessa and I, before we had babies, we used to drive around and do a lot of drag racing. I had an 81 Scrambler. So he found a picture of it here in the paper, so I'll show it to you. Yep, so there she is, the old 81 Scrambler. So won first place that day. Used to have a what do we have in that? Went through a lot of engines with that thing. Used to piss pound that Jeep. So she was canary yellow, but it was pretty cool. You don't see many scramblers around. I used to run Chevy V8s in it. I don't know, it wasn't anything real special, but it'd hook up real good, so you'd always go knock the doors off everybody with it. And wish I still had it, but it cost me a lot of money. I got a lot of tickets with that thing. Well, I can't really say I've ever done rear brakes on one of these. It must last a long time, you know, 100 plus thousand, almost, you know, 150, 160,000 brakes on the back of this are real good shape still. So I'm gonna see if we can't just unhook this front shoe here and tip it out and do what we got to do. I remember when I was pretty young, I used to get like super intimidated with drum brakes. You know, it's like you do your first set, you feel like a brain surgeon. Now, I guess the only advice I would give somebody on drum brakes, only do one side at a time. You know, if it's one like this, you know, I'm pretty unfamiliar with these. I've never done these ones before, so I'm not going to get all gung-ho and go rip apart both sides and then have to try to look at a, you know, diagram and put it back together. There's quite a bit of stuff on here, a lot of return springs and some stuff that's not real familiar, you know. The old GMs and, you know, Chryslers and stuff, they were all Fords, you know, they're all pretty the same. Yeah, one might have an adjuster cable or something, but they were pretty close to the same, you know. Just put the big shoe in the back and all that. I had to get a different pick for that one. There we go. Just that little spring goes across the bottom of the shoes. That's what we needed to get to. So these are the two bolts that hold that cable on. They'll probably just break off. It's no big deal. We'll just go upstairs and grab a couple more. Oh, that one came out. So that's all they are. No big deal. Got the adjuster and everything still sitting in it. Let me see if we can just leave it all right on there. Slide it right back. And adjusters must be hooked on that shoe. I'll tell you, I don't want to drop any pieces on the floor, so we'll just take them to pull that off. Pull our cable through. There. Alright, good shape. Grab our favorite punch. There she is. Oh, don't unsubscribe. The phone just rang. Alright, better go round us up a new bolt. Well, I know a lot of you viewers work in shops. And do you feel my frustration when you get a can of Never Seas or brake lube and the freaking brush is an inch shorter than the container, and then you end up cutting the container off so you can get to the stuff in the bottom? I don't understand that. Please, somebody explain that to me. I've always wondered that. Seems to be such a, doesn't matter what company it is either. There's got to be a reason behind it. Otherwise, I mean, not everybody would do it. They're all that way. It drives me nuts. That's why I always buy those little acid brushes down at Napa, because those things are really cheap, and I get those because I've had that same cut-off container of anti-seize forever. I don't use this stuff that often. At least not from, you know, I use a lot of the spray, you know, muscle grease and fluid film and things of that nature, but yeah, can't see here. Come on. Well, what the heck? Yeah, it fits. Just wanted to make sure. Everything back where it's supposed to be now. Go at it round two. This is where you always need like a third or fourth hand. Let's see, what way are we facing here? There. Of course, you know, a lot of this stuff becomes progressively more difficult as you try to film it. Keep your fat arm and head out of the way. So that makes it a little bit tougher in some cases. Get that back up through there, like that. Well, Shimon, let me pull that pin back out there. Getting ahead of myself. I think everything looks like it is where it needs to be. Stick the old pin through. Whatever happened to the drum brake anyways, you know? Everything's disc nowadays, which is fine. I mean, probably in most climates, disc brakes are awesome. I tell you what, they started putting disc brakes on the back of trucks. Man, you go through about 2 or 3 sets to a set of front pads anyways. They just rot right off. Man, I remember back in the day, the old Chevys and stuff with the drum brakes. I mean, them things would have 200,000 miles on it. The only time you ever changed brakes is if it blew a wheel cylinder or something. It was, you know, completely covered with fluid. But anyhow, some engineer made it better, I'm sure. There's probably still people home complaining, whatever happened to the old carburetor? That I can understand. Well, this adjuster arm fed back in there. So I just went to grab my needle nose vice grips and I can't find them. So I got thinking of where in the heck they could be, because I always take care of my tools, but I know where they are. They're on the parking lot on a Dodge Stratus that I tested the evap system on. Whew, good thing it hasn't left yet, because that would be a little bit embarrassing. They go to get gas and it won't fill up. Well, it's not my first time, probably won't be the last time. Alright, I think we're down to one more spring if I can find it. There it is. Wish it could be snug. Nope, not too bad. Okay. Just bring up top there and then we're done. Beautiful. I don't know why we buy the big expensive brake pliers, and I find like you start using these and stuff, they gnaw up the pad. They make a brake spring plier like this that has a little foot on it. I need to get one because anytime you use these, I don't know who thought of that. It would be, you know, easy on the shoes. It's fine for riveted shoes, but I tell you, on these bonded shoes, you end up knocking a hole through it by the time you're done. So there it is. All the brake mechanism. It's all back in and where it needs to be, and the cable's all in and bolted down. So I'm gonna take and just shut the camera off for a little bit and let's go ahead and do the other side, and it's not gonna be any different than this side. Unless it goes drastically wrong, but it should be pretty good. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, you know, it's just nuts and bolts, or in this case, springs and clips, so not too big a deal. Yeah, I'll turn it back on when I get that side done, and like I said, I'm essentially just do it the same way, just air the rust and re-lube the shoes there so they don't go to making noise on them or anything like that, and I'll be able to get the rest of the usable life out of these shoes, no problem. And we'll get the drums cleaned up, put back on, get the brakes readjusted. That way there we know the parking brake's gonna work good for them, and we'll head up inside and see if we can't get that hooked back up. And I don't know if we gotta back that equalizer off up in there to hook those up or not, I'm not real sure. Well, anyhow, I'll see you in just a second. Well, here's the driver's side. I got that all put together and got the floor cleaned up and cable bolted back on here on that rear spring, and bolted that one back on the frame, and everything went pretty smooth over here. Of course, this side went twice as fast as the other side because we've already did it once, so that always helps. So realistically, before we take and throw the drums on, have a little cup of coffee and let the car down. We'll go inside and hook up those cables, and I guess the reason I'd leave the drums off, because instead of maybe fiddling with that parking brake cable equalizer, you know, if we put it on and, you know, the cables are all neutralized right where it's at, you know, reusing brand new factory cables, that's an option. It's plausible. It may happen. May have to back it off, but if we don't have to fiddle with it, that'll be great because it looks pretty tight down in there to get a couple wrenches. But we'll leave the drums off so we can pull the cables and, you know, let the shoes expand and hook them up to that little cradle or equalizer in there. And if that goes all smooth, then we'll just throw the drums on, get the brakes adjusted, and got a couple other things I got to do. Got to do a service and a few other things he wants done. So we'll get that finished up. Jeez. This one's gonna be tricky. See if I can grab a hold of it with these little guys. kind of up under this console a little bit. You gotta get the cable and actually get it fed through the bracket, but there it goes. Then you gotta kind of hold it and get your clip on it at the same time. I'm not really sure I'll be able to do that. Oh, come on. Yes, there, finally. Whew. Okay, clips on, just gotta get it down the rest of the way. The pliers back. Whew. There she goes. Alright, beautiful. Let me straighten this other one up. You know what I should have done? I probably should have hooked them to the equalizer bar first. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? I know we'll get one side. You know what? We'll do this side, 'cause this will be the theoretically I think it would be harder. So now, you know what? This side was much easier, so we're going to take and pull that clip back off. Alright. Hold tension in on that one while I got the clip back on it, but clips on. I guess we just gotta finish pushing it down. I wonder if use a screwdriver here and just kind of. There we go. A little bit easier than slipping with the pliers and losing some skin over the deal. Haven't had a good bleed in a while. So that's with them all the way released. It feels like there's slack on both of them. I have to go back and look at the drums yet, because if we don't have to fiddle with the equalizer here, then great. But if we do, you know, we can get in there with some wrenches. But yeah, this cable here for the passenger side, that's kind of a stinker to do. This is the sucky part about gloves. You buy the best ones they make, these things last about a half a second usually. I mean, look at this. These things are garbage. I've bought lots of these. They never seem to work. Maybe I got a bunch of bad ones. I think I bought like a case, and they're terrible. These ones work pretty good. Of course, they don't hold up to brake clean and, you know, gas and anything. I mean, they just, you know, these deteriorate quickly with chemicals, but are very, you know, very good otherwise. I mean, they seem to hold up well, but these things suck. Just saying. feels pretty good to me. Yep, that was in second gear, it's holding. Yeah, feels like it's holding pretty good, so all the clinking and clanging and banging you hear back there, obviously with the parking brake on, the axle's really going to start wrapping up there, and you'll hear all the springs banging and stuff because the suspension's hanging, so don't be alarmed. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that for right now. Looks like there's plenty of free play here, and obviously, we didn't have any problem getting the drums on, so I'm not even going to mess with this adjuster. It feels like it's engaging about halfway, and I think that's suitable. So, and obviously it's holding the truck here in first gear, letting the clutch out, so it shouldn't have any problem holding it at outside. And I mean, it's easy enough to get to this adjustment, so we can let them take it and see if if it loosens up as the cables seat in or stretch. I don't know if they do any stretching or kind of tightening up or whatever there. We'll come in and make some adjustments, double check the back brake adjustments. So I think we did good. Now we got a plate from memory. Does anybody remember where the cupcake holder was? We'll put that cupcake holder there. We'll put the paper there. Oh no, the cup went there. Put the paper there. Phone charger, master lock. Never even knew we were here. Well, I think that's going to do it for me on this one. Got some other things I need to get done on it. Got to get it serviced, and he's got a little bit of a list, so I'm going to go ahead and chop down through that and see if we can't get this thing cranked out of here. We got another hour or so before it's quitting time, so it shouldn't be a problem. I don't know. I think that parking brake cable job went as good as it could, and the cable seems to return just nicely, so we shouldn't be having any more issues with that sticking on and causing a problem. A little more in depth than I thought it was going to be. I figured it was going to be just 1-2 barbecue. Really wasn't that bad though. All nuts and bolts, and worst part is you got to take the back brakes apart, and well, if you're going to take the time to do that, you got to do it right, and clean everything up, and re-lube the shoes, and get everything readjusted. But I guess it just it's part of the job, part of doing this particular job, and I always like to do the best that we can. So anyhow, thanks for coming along, thanks for watching, thanks for your subscriptions, donations, thumbs ups, and likes on Facebook. We appreciate all of those, and they're all made possible by you, the viewers, so we really do, I really do appreciate that. This YouTube has been a lot of fun, I'm going to admit. So thanks for watching, and remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it.